Penny Lane is a tableau building and engine building game in which you will create a section of a town and you will want to have a mix of houses, stores, businesses, all together, all in the same place. How very European. And it is a game that is pretty simple to play when you figure it out. The rulebook wasn't super helpful. It had a couple of areas that we found a little bit ambiguous, but ultimately, trial and error, we were able to play it in a way that either is right or we enjoyed. So either one we're happy with. Small box, but it's not... well, there's more game in here than meets the eye. It's a game that's not too long, but definitely not a filler either. Up there you have a line of cards that indicate the actions that you can take. The core idea is that during the game you will take a number of coins each time that you want to perform an action, and you will place it on one of those cards in the leftmost open slot, and then you will perform the action indicated on the card. There are no slots on a card, tough, then you simply don't take that action. Here we have a supply of cards representing different buildings, and you will buy those and you will add them to the sides of your starting tile. Your starting tile represents the area of town that you want to build. Up here there is a score track and there's a nice star-shaped token to indicate the victory points, and simply when you score points you move the marker there. The first player to score 10 victory points is the winner of the game. Other things, you may be the mayor, which is the first player, hooray. Here you have a section where you get a meeple at the beginning of the game, and also you will get meeples later on if during the upkeep phase that slot is visible, it's empty. The little swirly symbol there indicates that whatever is there, well, if the symbol is visible, you get something during the upkeep. So if there are no meeples there, then you get a free meeple. You always gain a coin during each upkeep, and you place the coins here in this section. Again, as you acquire cards, you will place them next to your initial area and then next to those. And what is interesting is that cards will go on the top so that the art is consistent, otherwise it gets too confusing, and some cards will get in the bottom section like that. So maybe after a while your lane will look like this, which is again really neat because the background art is consistent, which is nice. Also, as you place new cards, you may be able to complete those links that will give you extra stuff. For example, that scores you a victory point, as you can see when you have a full star, and that scores you a penny, which is nice, which you get during the upkeep phase. Now, back to the general and main idea. Remember, you have some coins and you need to spend them. Let's take a look or a closer look at the actions that are available. This pretty self-explanatory. You can gain a building from the supply. You pay its cost. The cost is indicated here in the top left corner of each building. Let's see, 3 or 2. In this case, if you're the first player, then you get a discount of 1. So if you get your coins in there to buy a building. And when you take a building, you add it to your lane, as I showed you earlier. This action here, you can move a citizen into an open job. Some cards that you acquire will have these slots here. If you have meeples on your board, and say, I just acquired this house, and the house comes with... See those 2 slots? The house comes with 2 meeples. And then, suppose I also have this card in my lane. When I use that action that allows me to move a citizen into an open job, I take one of my meeples, I place it in one of the available slots, which now gets me closer to whatever it is that the card does. Sometimes you will need the card to be full entirely, every slot full, for the card effect to be activated, or sometimes simply the number of meeples there will give you different benefits. Like in this case, I pay less at the Masons Guild, for meeples that are here. Another very important effect is that by removing the meeples that I got when I build a house, I am uncovering victory points that I will record on my personal thing. Yes, we won a lane that is full of houses and is full of nice, productive people that get across the street in the morning and go and work somewhere. So by getting places, by getting buildings, you will get the meeples, and then you use the Gazette to send them to work. And you get stuff, and you score points. So back to the main, the line of main actions. Here, simply, the game exemplifies the idea that you need money to make money. By placing a coin here, you gain 2 coins, and if you're the first player, you gain 3 coins. Very important. Here with 3 coins, you gain a random building from the supply deck instead of choosing it from the available ones that are face up. You can swap the position of 2 buildings in your lane. Maybe this allows you to get a better link. Remember those half link thingies. You become the mayor. That means you'll go first the next turn, which may be good because then you can get some highly sought after actions with the benefit of being the first player that uses them. And then we have 2 slots where you can send your citizens from your personal board. If you place somebody there, so these don't require coins actually, then you can choose any lane, gain a coin for each house there, more specifically for each card in your lane that had the little microscopic symbol. And here the barracks works similarly with a worker there. Then you gain a coin for each building with those symbols in your lane. So this is how it works. So the general idea, is very simple. You will place coins there, and early on you will want to find ways to get more coins or to get discounts, because otherwise it takes a while to build anything. You collect coins and or discounts, you buy buildings, you add them here, you get meeples that you send to work. All of this for the purpose of scoring victory points. For a player to score 10 of them is the winner of the game. Penny Lane is a light and simple game. It is actually much simpler than we thought. It took us a while to get started because unfortunately the rulebook leaves several things to desire. Rules that should be conceptually together are in different places, are separated in different places of the rulebook. They're not underlined graphically, they're just buried somewhere in there in the text. Some things are left implied. I'm still not 100% sure that we're playing the game as it's supposed to be played, but I know we enjoyed it, so I guess that either we played it right or we found a good variant, and that's good enough for me. But I just wish that for a game this simple, we could get started a little more easily. And it's interesting to me that we just happened to play the game right after we played Tapestry, which is a beast of an engine building game. And what we had here actually was still an engine building game in which I'm trying to create more momentum. I'm trying to get a tableau that gets me to do a lot more things, a lot more efficiently than you. And so there is the sense of acceleration towards the end of the game if you have been doing your job. Otherwise, you're still stuck with like, I get a coin per turn and I don't know what to do with this. And to me that was interesting because Tapestry is an engine building game, but it's a beast of a game, can take 2-3 hours to play. At the end you're exhausted, and basically we're playing Tapestry in the afternoon. Then we ordered pizza and we played Penny Lane as we were waiting for the pizza, and then actually while we were eating pizza, but we're very careful, there should be no tomato sauce on those cards. And actually that was a really nice change of pace, because you have an engine building that does not take that engagement, that involvement. You don't have to be that committed. So it's a really simple game, but I like it. That engine that you get there is interesting. And it's really not just about the cost in terms of resources, but even more than that is the opportunity cost that the game revolves around, because you have a limited number of slots on the cards. and that means that the order is very important. So now I'm giving up an action now just to be the mayor next turn, and precisely because I do that, actually this turn I don't get maybe to build a building. Pretty much everybody will start thinking I'm gonna do some basic things and then I'm gonna get to be the mayor. But of course, as everybody's thinking precisely that, well, everybody but one is wrong, will turn out to be wrong. And that decision there, trying to read what the opponents do, is very important. Now, there are certain synergies, certain combos, certain cards that seem particularly powerful, and if you get to use them early on, you have an advantage which, well, may give you a big advantage. So I don't know about that. If somebody, for example, gets early on an advantage, gives them more coins or gives them discounts to buy stuff, they can get ahead of the curve fairly easily, and so I'm a little bit uncertain about that. I know that some cards may be a little bit too powerful. On the plus side, if it turns out that that is the case, well, the game is not that long, the game can be played easily. You want to use all the buildings in every game anyway, so if you find that some buildings are too powerful, simply remove them from the deck, play without them, and the game is easily customizable that way. Otherwise, as is, you have a nice interesting puzzle in which you're trying to guess what the opponents will do so that you can do the things that you want to do before they use all the slots, in which you're trying to maximize the effects of your personal tableau, the links that give you coins, that give you coins and points. It's fun. It moves quickly, but again, it definitely has the sense of acceleration. It takes much longer to score the first 5 points than the last 5 points. It may happen actually that the game ends a little bit anticlimactically with somebody scoring 4 points, which is almost half of what you need in a single turn. I've seen that happen. I managed to pull it off. It was very satisfying, and I don't have the impression that my opponents were too annoyed by that. So it may end abruptly, but again, once you know that, that doesn't have to be a bad thing, because it may also just add to the tension of the game. So in general, Penny Lane, not that easy to get started because of some of the mechanics may not be entirely obvious, because the rulebook could have done a better job, but in general, it is a simple, light and fun engine building game.